Well, it's 10 after here in California. Welcome, everybody. I'm really excited to be for you all to be joining us, and we actually have some groups that are outside of California today. Welcome to our Starwood Montessori in Frisco, Texas. We are really excited for us to start this program. What you should expect today is hopefully all your students have a piece of paper and a pencil. We're going to be using those throughout the program. And the way we're going to interact is a lot of the times I'm going to be asking you to maybe turn and talk to a partner sitting next to you. You can also write down some of that information as well. And also I'll be asking you to write down some of your thoughts throughout the program. And teachers, go ahead and use that chat box to let us know what are some of the observations, what are some of the thinking your students are doing in the classroom if you feel comfortable to do that. Well, welcome everybody again. My name is Jackie, and I'm coming from the California Academy of Sciences in San Francisco, California. And if you take a look at our museum from the outside, you can see a beautiful green living roof. As well as inside our museum, we have a planetarium and a rainforest, even an aquarium. And our mission here is to explore, explain, and sustain the world around us. And the way we do that is through our museum, but also through our scientists. Our scientists work hard to explore our planet Earth, as well as here in California. Now, California is a very special place because it has one of the longest coastlines of any state in the U.S. And in fact, it covers over 3,000 miles. And along those miles, we actually have quite a few different types of places, environments. We have beaches, we have dunes, estuaries, lots of different lagoons, even forests and grasslands. And so because of all that, we get to see a variety of different plants and animals. In fact, I want you to think for a moment about a memory that you might have of maybe the California coast or even a body of water that might be near you. Go ahead and take a moment, think about that. And then I want you to go ahead and turn and talk to a partner sitting next to you, or maybe write down that memory of the California coast or a body of water near you. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and come back together in 3, 2, 1. Great. So you might have some memories of some lakes, as well as maybe a beach near you. I want you to kind of think about what are some of the feelings that came up as well during that time, in that memory. So those types of feelings, we can also think of as maybe also an inspiration. In fact, I want you to think about for just a moment, what does inspiration mean to you? Have you ever felt inspired by something? Go ahead and turn to a partner sitting next to you and let them know, what have you ever felt inspired before? So we have definitions of inspiration that I've found, and I kind of like these definitions. They're the process of being mentally stimulated to do or feel something, especially something creative. I also like the idea of it's an act of taking in a breath. You kind of just be able to breathe and feel calmness as well. And we have some words that are similar to inspiration, what we call synonyms. Sometimes we use creativity, artistry, genius, imagination. And so today we're going to focus on that inspiration, something that makes us feel creative, focusing on the California coast. So let's go ahead and take a moment, and I want you to think about what inspires you about the California coast. When you think of the ocean, what do you feel? What does it look like? Is there some parts of it that you are drawn to? Go ahead and take a moment and write down some of those ideas. All right. So we have one of our classes that have been able to share some of those feelings that they have in their time of thinking of the California coast, maybe calm, relax, having fun, maybe playing on the beach. Yeah, for me, sometimes it's that calmness as well. Oh, we have another student says calm. So we're going to go ahead and carry those feelings throughout our time, but we're also going to take a look at some of the feelings that other artists have in their inspiration. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at some artists and how they were inspired by the California coast. And so first, this is a artist called Carolyn Shaw. I want you to first just look for about a minute at this painting. Look at the detail. What do you notice? So let's go ahead and hear from you all. What are some of the things that you notice about this painting? What's going on in this picture? Wow, great observations, everybody. So you all were looking very closely at these at this place. We definitely see a lot of blend in colors. We see the trees and the rolling hills. There's water here. One of our students said that it looks realistic. The water looks like it's moving. We also capture a mood of, and some of us are saying it looks a little dreary or sad. And we also notice that it might be a sunset or dawn. So the sun doesn't seem to be up high. Kind of looks like a marsh. And so my next question is what do you think inspired this artist? So go ahead and turn and talk to a partner sitting next to you. Tell them, what do you think inspired this artist? Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing, everybody. Let's go ahead and come back together in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so this artist, Carolyn Shaw, she actually did, she grew up down in Pasadena, and she remembers going to the ocean to visit her grandparents during the, and what inspires her when looking at water and looking at the California coast is looking at temperature and seeing those colors. And I see those colors in this painting. And also movement. As one of our students said, it looks like the water is moving, and we can see that in this painting as well. And she has a great love of Mother Nature, and she's trying to capture that in this painting. So you all were looking really closely and doing a great job at kind of picking up what that artist was trying to feel. And we see that in a lot of different types of paintings from artists all across, all up and down the coast, like this one right here from Gender Simmons. And we can see kind of the way he uses colors can tell us a lot about the power of the ocean. And sometimes it looks, artists use their paintings to show movement. They also might show being something that is realistic or kind of looks realistic. And so artists are able to draw what inspires them about the coast, whether it's the ocean or the animals. But also artists are able to use that inspiration to help tell information. And it's what we call scientific sketching. Now, a scientific sketch is something that we draw that we see, not what we picture in our head. And so when we think of a tree, we wouldn't draw a tree like a Christmas tree, but we would give as much detail as possible. And so I actually want to practice this skill today with you. And so some things to keep in mind about scientific sketching is that it is accurate. It's what we see. It's big. It's colorful. It's detailed. And it's explained. So we're going to go through these steps to help us create a scientific sketch of a leaf. And so to make that sketch, our first step is to look at a leaf closely and outline it. We may put little dots around the edge of the leaf. So let's first take that first step together. And we are going to go ahead and look closely at this leaf. Go ahead now, take out your paper and your pencil. And I want you to go ahead and outline the shape of the leaf. You can do it with little dots. So those dots may look a little bit dark, light. So you have a very light image of that leaf. Now our next step is to draw the center line, connecting points together. And you don't have to complete all of it, but we just want to have a sense of what it looks like. Once we've drawn that center line and connected some of the points together, we want to choose an area where something unusual is happening on the leaf. We want to blow it up and zoom in to be able to show more of that detail. Now remember, as scientific sketches should be accurate, but it doesn't have to be beautiful. We want to just get the information that we're learning about by making these observations. Now, once we've been able to draw something unusual happening, we also want to add some labels to give us more detail about color or texture. We also can write down some of the questions we might have about this leaf. So hopefully you've gathered information about your leaf, and you might want to explore it a little bit more. And as this is a scientific sketch, we can go back to it and remember with all that detail. So using a scientific sketch, you want to use that sketch and you want to use those words as records and gather as much information about the leaf as you can. And scientists do this as well when they go out on expeditions, go somewhere new. And so they'll sketch something in as much detail as possible, but they'll also write down what they're either seeing with colors, as well as any questions that are popping up throughout it. And this helps us remember later when we come back either to the academy or back to their lab what they actually saw. It's a record of what they saw. Now, some of these scientific sketches can also help us create new art that can help tell a story. Like this one right here, where we see the life stages of a Colorado potato beetle. And we can see those different stages, but this is also telling us a lot of information of what those stages of the animal look like. And so they also tell us a story, not only to give us information, but also to inspire us to maybe look at the environment a little bit closer. So, like this artist right here, Roger Pete, he was able to look at how dolphins and sharks and these silver fish or sardines all are connected to each other. And so sometimes those artists also try to tell the story of maybe food webs, but they also try to tell a story that makes us take action. Like this artist right here is trying to tell us about keeping California swimmable, being able to go out into the bay and swim and keeping it clean for not only us, but also for the animals around them. And it can be subtle, like this, but it also can be a little bit more information, like this artist right here, Benjamin. So we actually have quite a few stories throughout California that art has taken action. And we only have time today for one of those stories. And this first story, the story that I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about today, it has to do with Southern California. And I like to call this story Yummy in My Tummy. And it has to do with the food that we eat. Now, I don't know about you, but I know I love seafood. Lots of food to be able to eat. Now, sometimes that food comes from places that are farming these fish, and that's great. And sometimes these fish come from places that aren't, we're taking too much out. So a way that we can help and make sure that we're not taking too much is making sure that we eat what we call sustainably, being able to grab food that is being farmed or that there's a lot of it in the ocean. And there's a place called Seafood Watch that is able to help us figure that out together. But if we come back to Southern California, there's actually some great, beautiful animals that are down there, including the tiger sharks. And those tiger sharks are the ones that eat the most food, and I want us to think for a moment about what do you think you could find in a tiger shark's stomach? Go ahead and turn and talk to a partner sitting next to you. What do you think you might find in a tiger shark's stomach? Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's go ahead and come back together in 3, 2, 1. So we got a lot of groups that have said maybe fish and bones, but also a lot of you said maybe some sort of trash. And you're right, unfortunately, if we look at a tiger shark's stomach, this is actually what we found in that stomach. We see some sea turtles, which is the food that they would normally eat, some crabs. But also, there's a shoe there, and a license plate. There's a lot of trash in our oceans. And artists are starting to gather that trash to create a statement. Let us know about how much is actually there. And Katie Peck gathered all the trash that she found down on the beach, and she created this sculpture. She wanted to let everybody know about what you can find on your beaches and how we can take that trash and turn it into art, but also we might want to take that trash out and be able to do something with it. It might be art. You might be able to reuse it in different ways. So we can recycle different things in different ways, whether it's to make art and help us create action around our beaches, or it can help us think about emotion and get a sense of calmness, like we saw with Carolyn Shaw. So I want us to think back about what we've seen today why don't you think about what inspires you about the California coast, or even just any water near you. Go ahead and write down some of your ideas now. Well, thank you all for sharing some of those inspirations that have come out of today. A lot of it, you're talking about how beautiful our beaches are, and the sand, talking about the sea life that has come out of it. And I want to encourage you all to take those feelings and those inspirations, and if you have a chance, the California Coastal Commission, it has an art project for all of those schools and students who are in California to create poetry or art that is inspired by the California coast. You have lots of time to be able to put these together. The due date is January 31st. And so now that you have some ideas and some inspirations, go ahead and be artistic, be creative, and put those ideas down on paper, and hopefully you'll be able to have fun with this as well. Well, our time is almost up today, and I want to thank you all very much for joining us.